Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janie Lee Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi and welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast. I hope you're well. I hope you're coping with the sun when it comes out and it's not triggering you. I hear that just so often. So I hope you're managing to stay focused on what it is you want, because that's the key, isn't it? Really, exactly what it is you want and how you can, if you focus on what you want, you get more of what you focus on. That's what they always say, don't they? I am delighted to be able to bring you today the recording of the podcast that we did with Matt Pink. We ended up doing the whole thing online, but we had a whole bunch of people join us, which was great. So they got to throw some questions at Matt as well. We invited a whole bunch of Sober Club members. So we're going to be doing that. And Matt is just so inspiring. I absolutely love the work that he does in this field. There are, a bunch of people who started down this path really early. Well, it feels like really early. And of course, more and more people are joining in just spreading the word, about how amazing it is to quit before you have to hit rock bottom, the difference that it makes in your life. So really pleased to be able to bring that chat with Matt Pink to you very soon. Just a brief word before that. It is the summer, so there's not a huge amount coming up, but just in case you are on the Costa del Sol, I'm going to be in Spain, near San Pedro, next Tuesday, the 7th of July. We're doing a kind of a breakfast meeting with sobersocials.es. So check that out if you're in that area, or if you happen to be on holiday. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? It's like when you're a kid and you go on holiday, and then it turns out that something that you're interested in anyway is in the area. Always good. So yeah, looking forward to that breakfast meeting Tuesday, 7th of July on the Costa del Sol. Just drop me a message if you can't find the info. But I chatted to Louise and Emma last week from sobersocials.es. So hopefully you can find that information if you're able to come to that. Anyone who's interested in sober coach training, I know there are some people that are feeling, okay, I've quit. I'm wondering what's next for me. And I've heard Jamie talk about the sober coach training. It is totally holistic, thoroughly comprehensive training, and you get absolutely everything you need to be able to get rocking as a sober coach. It is life coaching. We don't work with people who are clinically dependent or at rock bottom. We inspire people. It's very forward focused, and it's incredibly rewarding work. So Louise, who I'm going to be chatting to in Spain, trained with me some years ago. There is, if you're interested in the sober coach training, we don't have any live webinars at the moment, but there is an instant access webinar. So that just means you can just click on it and you can watch it whenever you like. And it kind of answers hopefully pretty much every question that you might have about the sober coach training. I'm chatting to Polly, who is one of the coaches who trained with me. So between us, we kind of answer all the questions that you might have. So if you just go to thesoberclub.com and click on Become a Sober Coach, you'll find all of the information you need there. And of course, you can just drop me a message if it's something that you're interested in. Have you ever wondered whether your alcohol-free journey was leading you somewhere bigger? Maybe you once drank more than you wanted to, always functioning, never at rock bottom, but now you're free and you feel that real pull to help others find the same freedom. There are millions of grey area drinkers who are not in crisis, but they're quietly struggling and they're longing for support from someone who truly gets it. With the Sober Club accredited coach training, you can become a holistic sober coach, guiding people through mindset, lifestyle, and alcohol-free well-being. It's not clinical recovery work, but it is so rewarding. Here's what one of our coaches, Polly, had to say.
I did my training in June 2023, and yeah, best thing I ever did. I worked in education. I set up the business and started to do it while I was working, and then slowly went down to 3 days a week and started to build, and now I'm doing my coaching full time. It's not just about doing the training, it's about personal growth as well. I came out a different person completely. The 2 days that you're on with Janie is incredible. And the group that you're with, you have that real connection with that group, and that continues. And for me, it has been life-changing. So I'd absolutely, yeah, without a doubt, recommend it.
If this speaks to you, check out the show notes. Make sure you join us for our next free webinar. So welcome. How lovely to see a few of you for this sort of live recording podcast. And we're going to be chatting to Matt. Welcome, guys. It's really lovely to see a few of you. And anyone who is watching this live can see that it's melting. I am literally melting. I don't do heat very well. You meet people and they're so cool, aren't they? And they look so kind of glowing in the sun. And then I'm kind of literally falling apart and can't make anything happen. But never mind. I've got a fan, so if you can hear a little sighing noise, then that's all it is. But anyways, I'm going to have a little chat to Matt, and then we'll open up for questions. So if you could keep your microphones off for the first bit, I'd appreciate it. So pop your mic off, apart from Matt, for the first bit, and then we'll open up to questions afterwards. So welcome, Matt. I'm not going to do a big intro because I'd much rather you kind of do a bit of an intro for yourself, and then we'll dig into all the pieces. So kick off and sing your own praises and say nice stuff about yourself.
Oh, that's nice. I find that quite easy, to be honest.
Good. Once you're
I
sober, it's actually hard before you quit alcohol because you don't usually trust yourself much, do you?
yeah, you don't warrant it, do you? You think you do,
No.
but you don't warrant it now. But yeah, I am Matt. I'm also known as the Better Life Guy on Instagram. You may or may not know me. I've been around for a while now, kicking around for about 6 years online. One of the original kind of faces, really, along with sort of Janie and Andy Ramage and the likes of. And I 6 years ago stopped drinking. I was working in the West End and in fashion and retail life and partying with celebrities and fashion shows and lots of champagne and lots of the other bits and bobs that go with that lifestyle. And yeah, it led me to the point I thought I was living the dream, getting all these free clothes, hanging out with all these cool people and drinking at lunchtime. But it takes its toll with you, especially when you get to I was at my late 30s when I actually gave up.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, lockdown came around, and a lot of people decided they're either going to start drinking wine out of a teacup or
Mm,
stop drinking. And
mm,
I went down the wine out of a teacup route initially, and then decided to go stop drinking after about 2 weeks of that. So
great.
ever since that, I just started my Better Life Guy account, and I just had a real urge and a pull to kind of share with the world because I couldn't believe how good I felt from it. And weirdly, 6 years later, I still feel the same, if not
Yeah.
more passionate than
I
ever about
know.
sharing it.
That's what some of the most amazing thing, isn't it? It just gets better every year. And anyone who kind of thinks, oh, I'm going to come up to a year and it's going to be flat. It's not. It gets better every single year, doesn't it? It's
It does, but you've
amazing.
got to do the work, I think.
You got to do the work. You have.
Because if you sit still, then
Yeah,
you can end up
yeah,
going backwards.
totally. If you become complacent, yeah, completely. So I know that you run the House of Tom, which I know you do a lot of work with men's mental health and all of that. We'll dig into that in a moment as well. But right at the beginning, you were really great at kind of raising awareness of just socializing without alcohol. And tell us a bit about the no booze cruises that you set up because they were such fun.
You were, yeah, you came, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I
Yeah.
did a little, I popped up and did a little 5 minute talk on one of them. It's really good fun.
Yeah, that was much of a sweaty mess as well, as much as
Yeah.
today is. So yeah, I just like doing things differently. I think that's where I've done well in my own career. And I suppose I came in as a bit of a maverick into the space. And traditionally, the alcohol-free space is quite dull and boring, and it seemed to, AA or nothing, and sitting around
Mm,
a church hall. And I'm an alcoholic, and it serves many people. But I just wanted to come and carve in a whole new space and
mm,
appeal to the regular people of the world. And I thought, why not try new things? And I'd been on a few booze cruises in my life, up and down the Thames, live DJ, drink, drink, drink. Don't really look out the sights. Don't really remember what happened. Feel a bit sick
yeah.
after a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought, I wonder if I could do that with no booze and call it a no booze cruise and rip all the fridges out and put it all
Mm,
back with
mm,
alcohol-free beer and still have a DJ and make it fun. And
mm,
yeah, it was a right pun. I did it, I sort of I hired a smaller boat to start with. There was 100 people and sold it out. So, okay, all
Mm,
right, that's good. And then a lot of people were asking for it the next year. So I did it again with 150 people and that sold out. And then I did a third year and a final year, which was 200 people and a two-story big one.
mm.
So it was really hard work organizing
Yeah,
it, really
yeah.
quite stressful, but pretty amazing. So yeah,
Yeah, totally. I mean,
that's
just, I mean, even just the title, it just shows, doesn't it, that you absolutely don't, have to be boring because you're not drinking. In fact, the opposite is true. We know that it's drunk people that are incredibly boring, and sober people are just always great fun.
yeah, and me and Andy, the one thing me and Andy Ramage noticed on the boat, all of the boat parties, was that noise level of people was kind of immediate, and it kind of stayed static for the whole
Yeah,
thing, and much different to a booze cruise where no one's speaking to anyone, everyone's in their own corners, no one's saying
yeah,
anything, and then by the end of it, it's carnage.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it was very different,
yeah.
but brilliant, and do you know what? It's formed friendships and friendship groups that have still lasted to this day. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
can
proud of it.
imagine. Yeah, that's fantastic. Just tipping back for a moment for when you first quit. Obviously you said, you're saying, you were living the life, you were kind of, doing the kind of London scene. You must have had a whole bunch of mates and colleagues around that time who were probably a little bit shocked at this new version of you. So how did you navigate that?
Yeah, very much so. But I also leveraged the lockdown quite
Yeah, of
nicely.
course.
And
Yeah.
I think that's where I feel a bit almost guilty when I talk to other people about this, because I had that as a massive benefit. Because when you're immersed in a world, which everybody is around, they're immersed with the friends they always drink with and the places they always drink at. I saw an opportunity with furlough. I was like, right, all the bars of London are shut. All the people I drink with are not with me. They're furloughed at
Yeah.
home. So I was like, I'm just going to make the most of this. And you're right. When we all went back to work after 4 months, 5 months, and I looked completely different and I was completely different. And everyone was like, should we go for a drink or should we go and sit in the park drinking? I was like, no, no, no way. I don't do that anymore. And they were shocked. But they knew what I was doing from obviously speaking to me on the phone and being online. But when they saw it, they were quite shocked. But equally, I think I was always the leader of the drinking group. So I think there was a lot of they were kind of worried about me, I think, at some stages where I just would like lose the plot and go
Mm,
mad and be the
mm,
last one out. So I think they understood it, but
mm.
equally it was different, and I ended up leaving the career behind because it just wasn't congruent with the work that I was doing. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
ended up moving into this full time.
Yeah, totally. And what were the kind of benefits that you found for yourself? I mean, obviously there's, you're going to be happier, you're going to have more, contentment. But what were really the things that made the biggest difference for you? Did you have your own mental health stuff going on that you felt was improved by quitting?
Yeah, I did, but I also just think fundamentally what it gave me was this incredible platform to do whatever I want to do in my life and
Mm,
like create a foundation and create a foundation of wellness is what I kind of talk about a lot, which is, I suddenly had beautiful deep sleep, which I didn't realize I
yeah.
didn't have. I thought I slept all
Yeah.
right. Uh,
Yeah.
until I went sober and I was like, wow, this is incredible. And genuinely, that is one of the things that to this day keeps me off the booze. I
I
couldn't go back
know.
to sleep.
I know.
Um,
When you every morning, every single morning, it's like, oh my God, this never gets old, this feeling of waking
oh,
up
it's
sober.
beautiful. So yeah, that sort of wellness. So having more time, having more patience, being more present, having a better sleep, being
Yeah.
healthier, looking healthier, being able to
Yeah.
start running more and making progress in all areas of my life. And it was like I was doing all the things that I've always wanted to do, almost like in gear one. It was like it wasn't even any effort. It was all falling into place. And the weight I've been trying to lose for 10 years fell off. And
Yeah.
the routine of exercise I wanted to get into kind of just established itself. And
Mm.
the supplements I started taking, I was suddenly taking every day, and they were making a difference. And yeah, the way I was as a dad and a husband, I'd always preached that I was a good husband and dad, but I didn't realize how much I wasn't until I started being a good husband and
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah. Did your
Um,
wife come along with you on the ride, or was she
she
still
did, yeah,
drinking?
she did. Well, she did for 3 years, and then she went
Mm.
on a hen do, and she was like, "I'm just going to drink." But she's one of those people that can just drink a glass of
Yeah.
wine.
And then not
I
have one for a year.
I find fascinating.
Yeah, it is interesting.
She
Yeah.
she for example, I said this story recently. we were watching something on TV and it was 8 o'clock at night. She's never someone who drinks really. And the other Friday, she was like, I'm going to go and get a bottle of wine. And I was like, really? It's like 8 o'clock at night. We're about to watch something. By the time that's finished, it's 9 o'clock. I want to go to bed. Do you really need to go and get a bottle of wine? She was like, yeah, I need to go. So she went out. She got a bottle of chicken wine. She comes back in, right, cold bottle of wine, pours herself a glass, sits next to me on the sofa. We watch our thing together. And then I say, right, I'm going to go to bed now. And she's like, okay, come on then. And I'm like, what? You just bought a whole bottle of wine
The rest of
and
us
you've
would have
just
to
got
polish it off,
one
wouldn't we?
glass and you're just
Yeah.
going to come to bed with me. Like,
Mm.
that is crazy behavior in my world. But fair
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, it's funny. It is interesting. I think, but I know. I was doing something about this the other day, actually, about this thing that people who are genuinely moderate drinkers, in inverted commas, there are some people that they'll have a shandy in the summer and then they won't have anything for till Christmas. It's not a thing. It's just not in their head. They're actually genuinely moderate drinkers. But
Yeah,
the rest of us who talk about moderation, because I'm sure where lots of us go down that path, we go, oh, I think I'd like to moderate. It's absolute nonsense because we don't have an off switch. And
yeah,
actually, the reality is even one glass is harmful. So really, why would you want to?
yeah,
But
exactly.
it is interesting. What about you mentioned your kids. I mean, as everyone's heard me say before, that is my biggest regret, really, that I didn't do this sooner because and now looking back, I found some aspects of parenting really hard. I had 4 kids and I was working all the time. And I look back and I think, God, if I could have quit the booze sooner, I just absolutely know it's like the best parenting hack ever. Have you found that?
100%. And I've got a lot of kids as well. And I'm fortunate that it's really only my eldest daughter, who's 17, who saw me drink, but equally she was 10 or 11 when I gave up. So in the
Yeah,
grand
that's
scheme of things,
brilliant.
when she's 30, she's not really going to remember anything other than me
No,
not drinking. And my boys
yeah,
are 9 and 11, so they won't know any different. So, and
that's
my
great.
daughters, my little girl's nearly 4. So, and it's
Amazing.
amazing because, what my daughter saw, one old version of me when I was working in town, I'd always make an excuse not to come home because I'd miss
Yeah.
the train or I'd be having drinks or whatever. And now it's the opposite. I can't. I'm at home all the time. I do the school run every day. I make sure I make little pacts with the kids where we walk to school. We've got a little thing this year where every single day we live a mile away from school. My wife chooses to drive because she's not really a big walker. I said to the kids at the start of the year, I'm going to walk every single day with you, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, and I've done it, and we've nearly made it through to the whole school year. So little
Brilliant.
things like that. Whereas before you'd sling them in the car and you're just
Yeah.
rushing all the time, and it's just beautiful to have all that time and peace.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do with guys. I mean, let's just talk about why that's so needed because that I mean it seems a bit crazy that we still have to say this, but it is true that I think guys just don't open up as much as perhaps women do.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And how that came about was when I first started my Instagram, I got to 10,000 followers in about 3 months, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. It's gone off properly. And I started looking at all the analytics, and it was nearly 85% of my audience was women, and I thought that's really interesting. I thought it'd be men. And so nearly 20% was obviously men. But then over a period of months, I was like, this is really odd because on on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning, I'd wake up to loads of DMs, and they'd all be from men. So like 80% of my messages were from men, but only 20% of my audience were men. Meaning what I kind of had this aha moment of like, wow, women are like super keen on lurking and they don't mind, they're open-minded to a lot of this stuff. Men aren't really, but when they need help, like on a 4 o'clock in the morning on a
Yeah,
Saturday,
they reach out.
they do reach out. And so I was like, I need to create something here, like a space for men. So I did that nearly 4 years ago, and it's just evolved, and it's evolved with me. I've kind of moved upstream with it. It started off as a group where we met on a Friday night and we had an alcohol-free beer over Zoom. And the point of it was to celebrate the end of the week, to start the weekend, and to kind of provide that bit of a straddle point so that we could have a few drinks, come off the call when you're ready to do the weekend sober, as opposed to like white knuckling it and relying on your
Mm.
willpower. But over a period of years, and we did lots of trips, we realized that wasn't really needed anymore. The group kind of evolved. So we've now rebranded it this year, and we've elevated the whole thing. And it's now a space for men that are already off the drink, but that
Right.
want to build a life of purpose and become the
Brilliant.
best version of themselves. And
Mm.
that doesn't exist in the world at the minute. So it's kind of the first of its type. And I like to think of myself as kind of a pioneer in this space, hence the boat parties and all the stuff I did at the start. And I kind of want to keep being a pioneer in this space. So I see it as my duty to allow now all the people, there's so many millions of people talking about sobriety online. It's like, let them do that. Let the
Mm.
new people come
Mm.
and share their new knowledge because it's fresh in their minds. I want to help the people upstream that have actually given up. And what I find through my one-to-one coaching with men is I see so many men that have given up 2 years, 3 years. They go back and have one pint with their mate and they cannot get off it again.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's so interesting. It's so interesting you mentioned that. I was just going to say what you said right at the beginning, about this whole idea that you do have to do the work. You do actually have to stay connected. It's super important. And I've also come across that with people who perhaps have been sober, maybe even for a year, and then it's just like they have that one drink and then they're back down that booze elevator if they don't have that support and connection.
exactly. So that I saw that pattern over a period of probably a couple of years with all the men. And then I was kind of like, well, what can I do to rebuild this thing? And then I did a lot of work on myself, and I realized that really what keeps me going is this whole like, what next? Who's the next
Yeah,
version of me? What am I doing next year? What am I getting up and getting excited about? Because and rediscovering my spark and my passion and
yeah,
my purpose
yeah,
and
yeah,
really on that foundation of wellness. And then you're onto a winner then, because in the absence of having all that stuff, the purpose, the passion, the excitement, then your tendency that you're built, your subconscious mind is going to pull you back to the past, the
yeah.
familiar past. That's
Mm.
just the way it goes. So
Mm.
the important work is connection. The important work is identity, who you are now, you don't drink. And then it's about building such an exciting life for yourself that alcohol just can't play a part.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And it's my whole philosophy too, with the stuff that I do, because one thing that really drives me bonkers is when you see, and particularly if it's celebs or whatever, and they'll say that they're not drinking. And then the kind of the next sentence will be, oh, I just can't drink, oh, you lucky people that can. It's that kind of vibe.
yeah.
No, hold on a minute. We're the lucky ones.
Mm.
If you've recognized you're the lucky ones. We're the lucky ones because why would you want any? And when you can, as you say, it is a new identity, and we do have to actually find a way of stepping into that new identity. And I think it can be harder for guys in many cases because there is still that bravado thing around going to the pub and not being seen as the person who doesn't have a pint. There is still a bit of that going on, or is that just not happening anymore? I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely more open-minded men these days. The modern man is a bit different, but there's still a lot of that as well. And what I try and do is kind of almost replicate what we would do on a normal boys' weekend. So when we do our little trips away, we the one we just did recently, we met up in a pub. We had a few beers, alcohol free, obviously, went for a curry, stayed together in like a hotel, woke up early, did a park run together, came home, went to watch a random football match in League Two, just a football match with the lads. It didn't really matter who it was Crawley
Mm.
Town. And then we went to the dogs in Brighton near Brighton on
Brilliant.
Saturday night. And then we went to bed and then woke up on the Sunday and went for a brunch at Bill's and then all went home and
Yeah,
kind of sort of what you do with the lads anyway, except
yeah,
for a sprinkling of like running or something
yeah.
or walking or hiking or something like
Mm,
that. So,
mm.
and those weekends are super important because it really bonds us together. And you come away from those weekends and you just like, that was incredible. It's a proof, it's a real life proof that the only thing we always say, the only thing that would spoil that weekend is drink.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it's crazy.
Absolutely. And then there'd be, a bunch of you can't make it to work the next day. So
Yeah.
everything loses out, doesn't it? Yeah, it's incredible. So how do guys get involved if they're at that stage? Is it you open up to new members or are you kind of full?
Yeah, we've just shut the door, but we open again in September. So we're taking on people sort of quarterly.
Hmm.
So just have a look at the website. It's called
Mm.
jointom.com and or just follow me and you can see it on my bio in Better
Hmm.
Life Guy on Instagram.
Yeah. And join Tom, it's spelled THOM. So that's the House of Motive. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, because I mean, give us some examples of some of the things you've seen with some of the guys you've worked with. I think it's really nice for people to hear these little stories. You don't have to name names, but these little stories of inspiration of how people have kind of gone from where they were to finding that new purpose or that new spark.
Oh yeah, countless examples. Like I've had a guy who came in heavily overweight, really unhappy, like suicidal thoughts, but was kind of weaning himself off the booze, but in a really bad place. He thought he was in an unhappy marriage. He just had two young kids. And then we helped him as a group, and I was doing a little bit of coaching for him to get off the drink. Ended up being sort of 6 months off of it. He lost about 4 stone in weight. The job he thought he didn't like, he got promoted in. The wife he thought he wasn't sure about, they rekindled their marriage, and he just became a super family man. And he's now like a real friend of mine. And
Brilliant.
that was over the course of like probably a year. Really, went from one extreme to the other. But there's been loads. A lot of them are sort of like the same story where you wouldn't recognize the before picture. In fact, I've just had a guy. He won't mind me saying his name is Greg. He's just joined. He's just joined us now. Last year, he showed me a picture. He showed us a picture of himself last year versus what you see on screen when he's on Zoom. I haven't met him in the flesh yet, but he looks like a really good-looking chap, 66 years old, really full of energy. And he showed us this picture from just last year, and he was swollen, bright red, really unhappy, really unhealthy, drinking a lot. And it just goes to show how quickly you
Yeah.
can your body is an amazing healing machine. And
Yeah.
if you just come off that stuff, not only is it amazing how quickly it bounces back, but also it shows the harm it's doing.
I know people often just don't realize, do they? It's incredible. You sometimes have clients who they're on tons of different medications for a load of different things and so much going on, and they remove alcohol, and suddenly it's like everything starts to get better because your poor body has probably been desperate for a chance to heal. If you could
Yeah.
just stop poisoning me, you can imagine it saying, can't you?
Yeah, you can. I say that to the lads all the time. It's like, you don't realize that the sort of science behind it is like when you're drinking, your body then ditches everything else and prioritizes getting the drink out of your system. So if
Yeah,
you're constantly drinking, your body's constantly prioritizing getting the drink out of your system. So all of the things it needs to rejuvenate and make you, heal, all of that
yeah.
work gets put to one side because it's too busy getting rid of the toxins out of your system. And it's like, if people can't see that or don't want to hear it until they actually do it themselves, but there's actual science behind that. So
Yeah,
it is a
totally.
madness.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing, as we say, the all of the kind of associations, like we were talking about, the whole idea of getting out and doing similar things. So it's perfectly okay to go for a beer with the lads, and it's an alcohol-free beer, and it's part, all of that stuff. But I think particularly, like at the moment when the sun's shining, or when there are all these associations that people have, aren't they? So whatever it is for you, some people are like, oh, it's Christmas time and there's an open fire. That means I have to have red wine, or oh, the sun's out. That means I have to have a chilled Sauvignon. And we're wired, aren't we? We've got all these neural pathways that are kind of wired to make us make those associations. So it's our job to literally create new ones. And that's literally what you're doing with the guys, isn't it?
Exactly. And the thing is, your go-to when you've got those strong neural pathways built, when the sun comes out, your go-to is the pub garden. Like you said,
Yeah.
when it is cold, it's red wine season. And that becomes your go-to for everything. Whereas when you stop doing those things, your go-to things become infinite. So
Yeah,
rather than
exactly.
sort of like looking in the same bucket every time, at the same occasion, the same trigger, it's like we go for the drink, we go for the drink, we go for the drink. When you stop doing that, you start looking up and going, actually, what shall we do? Shall we go for a walk? Shall we
Yeah,
go on holiday? Shall
exactly.
we go on a weekend break? Shall we go explore somewhere new?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's
which is why people become much more adventurous, don't they? Or, well, I always say being sober makes you brave. So whatever that is for you, it might be that you reignite some kind of creative thing that you used to do. Or I know I always remember one of my clients who went and did actually no, it was a Sober Club member who did a MA in creative writing, and she just kind of said, I don't even recognize that version of me. It's
yeah,
absolutely amazing, just don't even recognize it. The amount of people who say that it's like they've been given another chance at life, literally.
yeah, exactly. And I did this. I wrote a book, and did really well, and it's on Amazon, and it's a bestseller. Or it was when it came out, and
Remind us of the title of that.
Better me, better you.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. Great.
Um, and yeah, I didn't even get a GCSE in English, so like, I hated school. But I suddenly thought I'd roll dial, at the computer every day, like hammering it away. Like, who does he think he is? But I loved it. It's a super cathartic process, and hopefully, it's gone on to help many people. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's relatable. Your story is relatable. That's what's so great, isn't it? Really, it's amazing.
yeah.
So is there anything else you want to share about, if there's any guys listening to this particularly that that are kind of maybe early stages, or they're maybe just they're at the stage where they're considering quitting alcohol, or they know they need to quit alcohol, but actually it is the whole social thing with other guys that's worrying them. Obviously, you can't recommend a lockdown, thank God.
Yeah.
But what would your tips be for guys, especially? What can they focus on?
Yeah, I always have the same kind of blueprint. And I think that a couple of these things are sort of real easy, low-hanging fruits that make a massive difference. The first thing I think we're so blessed with in the world now is alcohol-free drinks
Yeah,
because they
exactly.
are just incredible. And we going back to when I am probably you, Jane, when we gave up, it was Caliber or Beck's Blue. There was nothing
Yeah,
around.
there wasn't
Now,
much.
now there's loads and they're amazing. And it's like, first step is to like actually just get rid of the booze out of your house and replace it with alcohol-free booze.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first step. The second thing, the one thing that made the biggest difference to me was when I discovered that if I eat a big meal as soon as I finish work, and like I call it closing the gap. So the
Mm,
gap between work and dinner is like the danger zone.
yeah.
Specifically, if you had a bad day at work or something's
Mm.
kicked off, that's when and you're usually hungry and tired and
Yeah, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, all
so
of that.
like
It's
tick
so
that box.
true.
So
Yeah.
get a couple of alcohol-free drinks you down you quickly, or
Mm.
do a meal prep. So you just come home from
Yeah,
work and eat. So if you
yeah.
eat and then have a couple of alcohol-free beers, you're going to take away about 70% of your cravings straight away.
Definitely. Definitely.
And then surround yourself with people, whether that's virtually, whether it's in real life. You try to avoid going out with your mates initially because
Mm.
just stay away from it for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And try and do other things. So
Mm.
focus all your attention that you would have put into the evenings, try and put it into the mornings. Get out for a walk, go to the
Mm.
gym, focus on all of those good things that
Yeah.
you get up and do. And then what that does is obviously helps you in the morning, but what it does is it also helps you at night to think, right, in the morning, I'm getting up to do this and this. I'm quite looking forward to it. So
Mm.
go to bed with that thing to look forward to. There's loads more, but they're kind of the fundamental
Yeah, no,
basics.
I love that, and I have very similar things. And I always say keep the ritual, change the ingredients, because it is a ritual reaching for a nice glass, isn't it? But we just don't need alcohol in it. And you're dead right about that gap, because I remember I've had lots of clients who are mums with young kids, and they'll often say, oh, the witching hour. It's like 5 o'clock or 5:30 when I'm making the kids tea. And I just have to reach for a bottle of wine. And sometimes I'll say to them, well, are you actually hungry then? And they'll go, oh, yeah, well, I'm sneaking a fish finger or whatever, but I don't actually eat till my husband gets back at 8. And I'll be like, for God's sake, eat.
Yeah,
Eat.
and that's the funny thing, isn't it? When I was drinking, I used to be on a Sunday, it was my big drinking day. And I used to say to my missus all the time, don't you dare cook me dinner before 7 o'clock. I want as late as possible. She'd say, should we have dinner at 4? No way, because
Yeah,
I want to have at least 5 pints while I'm watching the
yeah,
football. And now it's the opposite. Like when I
yeah,
first went sober, I was eating a roast dinner on a Sunday at midday because my Sunday was my problem day. And it's the same theory. Like, on a Sunday, just for a wallop, have a big roast dinner, and then I
yeah,
was so stuffed. The last thing I ever wanted to do was have a beer after that. So it's
yeah,
just about using those tactics that you rightly say would normally be the opposite. Like you'd
yeah,
normally eat dinner late, eat dinner early. You normally have an alcoholic drink, have a non-alcoholic drink.
yeah,
You normally wouldn't go out for a walk in the morning, go for a walk in the morning. So
yeah. Yeah, so true. And as you say, I'm guessing, I mean, here's the thing, right? I bet you've never met anyone who prefers themselves as a drinker.
no, of course not. No.
You never do
Yeah.
you? No one ever goes, oh, I wish I could kind of go back to go back
No.
there.
You get people that kind of reminisce and fantasize about the good old days, and I know, and obviously, everyone has periods of that throughout their journey, but I'd say that came for me in like the year 1, 2 kind of territory where you get that fading bias, don't you? Where you just get used to
Fading effect bias,
feeling
yeah, where you think,
fine.
well, you look back with the rose-colored specs, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. But
yeah,
actually, the reality is, if you had a great time when you were, young and at a party or with a bunch of friends, that would have been despite the alcohol, not because of it. It
yeah,
wouldn't
but
be the alcohol that made you have a great time. If it had been shit time, it would have been shit time with alcohol. You had a great time despite it.
yeah, but also you might have had a great time with it. But the way I look at it is kind of like brilliant. Well, that's that chapter, and
Yeah, that's
it's
done.
great. Some of it was great fun, but actually, life's about chapters, isn't it? And let's
Yeah,
close that one
yeah,
and open a new one.
yeah, totally. So, what are your plans? What would you like to have happen for the House of Tom? What's your kind of vision? What would you love to have happen if speak in a year?
I
What would you
mean,
like to have happen?
it's a passion project of mine, and I've sort of really immersed myself into it. And I've done things in the past where I've done massive communities and massive events, and my thing now is more about intimate environment. So I'm going down the route of doing one-to-one coaching and obviously Tom as well. And with the vision with Tom is to kind of really create like a nucleus of men, which
Yeah.
I've got already in that first wave, and really work on them, really build on them, really work together and transform people's lives. And then when we do the next wave, it's like top that up and do the same thing again. And I'm talking building to like 100 people maximum. And
Yeah.
then we'll see what happens from there. But
Mm.
my vision used to always be big, big, big. Let's go for the biggest thing we can do. And now it's actually gone the opposite way. And I just
Yeah.
want to help people at a deeper level rather than
Mm.
a
Mm.
superficial level.
No, I get that. And also, the really fabulous thing with that, of course, is that, it's a relatively small number of people, but then each one of those people have an impact, don't they? And it's that amazing ripple effect. That's what I see with the coaches that I train. It's like there's a very small number, but then they have an incredible ripple effect.
Yeah.
That's the really lovely thing about starting to get these little pockets of awareness for
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah, and just the bond we have. Like we went to Chamonix last summer. It was a year ago from now. And I'm quite a skier, but I've never been to a ski resort in the summer, but I've always wanted to. So I was like, let's do it with us lot because actually, what better place to go with a load of sober lads than a ski
Yeah.
resort in summer? Because
Yeah.
you can hike, you can jump off the mountain with a parachute, you can bike, you can get electric bikes, you can do mountain biking up the mountain. You can do so many cold lake swimming. There's so much to do. All of the stuff that sober people love to do, and it's off season, so it was really cheap. So we all went to Chamonix and just had the most beautiful time. And it was one of those moments. It was at that point, actually, a year ago, that I decided to kind of really put the work in to rebrand it and make it a real thing rather than just kind of on the back of a fag packet.
Mm.
And because we really did bond on that holiday, and it's bonds that I think last a lifetime. And now I want to make that into a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing we lack, and it made me realize, it makes me realize still, is that the friendships you have at school kind of are brilliant, and I still loads of my mates from school I still see and hang around with. But these friendships are real friendships, and they're when you're an adult and you choose friendships with people that don't drink, you can really go deep in these friendships, and they're just powerful.
Mm. Mm.
And now we've got this special bond, and I want more people to have that and more people to experience it.
Yeah.
So that's the dream.
Yeah, it is true because even when you get quite a diverse group of people, there's something so special, isn't it, there about that shared bond, that particular one. Even if you could haven't got much else in common, there's just something so that just really connects you, and you really, I think part of it is that when people have quit alcohol and they've stepped into that kind of better version of themselves, as it were, people just become much more kind.
Yeah.
Don't you think? And they become kind of cheerleaders for each other.
Yeah, 100%. I always say that I think that humanity is actually a beautiful thing, but it's just so many people are so tired and hungover
Yeah.
and stressed, and a lot of that comes from alcohol. And if you
Yeah.
remove alcohol, like inherently, people are actually really kind and nice, and you do see the best version of people. And when you put the best version of people all together in the same room, like magic stuff happens. So I agree
Totally.
with you.
Yeah, I love it. So just give us the website, Matt.
www.jointom.com. That's join and then THOM.com.
Brilliant. Just a reminder, if you happen to be in Spain, Tuesday the 7th, I'm going to be doing an event, breakfast event with the gals from sobersocials.es. So if you happen to be on holiday or you're lucky enough to live there, then I will see you on Tuesday. And just a reminder for those people who are thinking, there could be something else for me. I'd really love to give back the Sober Coach training. The next one starts in October. But we are taking bookings now. And so drop me a message if that's something that you're interested in. Also, for those of you who are coaches or practitioners or we do anything in that kind of well-being space, I'm also going to be hosting a kind of a business day for people in that well-being space who want to just rock their business. And that's 12th of September. And then the day after that, the 13th, I'm going to be doing a presentation training. They're kind of hybrid intensive. So we do some stuff online and then an intensive day, very small groups, lots of one-to-one. I do find it incredible how many people are really so nervous of speaking in public. I know it comes easily to me. Of course it does. I've been doing it for years, but they are just skills, and you know what, we can definitely help you, can definitely teach you that. So if that's something that's been holding you back, check out the the business days in September, 12th and 13th. Just drop me a message again if that is something that you're interested in. Before then, we will for sure be having more social stuff. We'll be doing all kinds of things coming up in the late summer. And of course, if you did want to join us in the Sober Club, you would be so welcome. It doesn't matter if you're day one, sober curious, or if you've been sober for absolute years. What we do in the Sober Club is we focus very much on the what's next. So we look at, how do you want to level up? Have you thought about your nutrition? Have you thought about your mindset? Have you thought about fitness? Have you thought about spirituality? We've got every single thing linked to well-being covered in there with some amazing experts. It's not just me. Some really incredible experts have given us content for the Sober Club. We have meetups online. We have a course, Get the Buzz Without the Booze. And of course, we've got a very small but very supportive community. And it really is amazing that whatever you've got going on, there's somebody there to cheerlead you. So it's very special. And, I'm really proud of it because it's kind of my I don't know, my life's work, if you like. I'm there all the time. I'm in that group the whole time. So 24/7 pretty much. So it's thesoberclub.com. Join us if you'd like to. And if that's not your thing at all, I say every week, if you are early days, I know I mess things about here because I'm also speaking to people who've been sober for years. I get that completely because I think you have to stay connected and you have to stay inspired. But if you are really early days, and you're thinking, I've no idea what she's on about here. I'm not going to be a sober coach. I haven't even quit yet. I don't know about the Sober Club. It's not my thing. Wherever you're at, tell someone you're doing this. Honestly, I can't stress how important that piece is. When it's just you and the voice in your head, the voice in your head wins. So tell someone. You're very welcome to reach out and tell me. Just message me on social media at Janie Lee Grace. If I get the message, I'll reply. Can't say fairer than that. So please just tell someone because it makes it real. It holds you a little bit more accountable. It gives you that little extra layer so that when that voice comes rolling in, oh, it's a sunny day. Maybe I'll just have one. Then there's just that other layer where you just might think to yourself, oh, I've literally just messaged Janie to say that this is my day 2 or my day 3 and I don't want to go back there, because trust me, it's the best thing you'll ever do for your health and well-being. Really, there's nothing else that matches it. There's loads of other well-being things you can do, of course there are, and I hope you will, but this is the piece that sits under everything else, because it really is the thing that lays the foundations for who you really are. And I don't know anything else that does that, but it's really difficult to kind of sell it. It's difficult to share it with people. It's difficult to share the magnitude of how it feels when you've properly quit the booze and you've stepped into that new identity as someone who chooses not to drink anymore. So there you go. You heard me say that a lot, right? There are hundreds of podcasts, by the way. If you are new to it and you want to go back through the archives, please do. There's some absolutely fascinating, interesting guests along the way, and lots of good stuff on the pods. And I'll see you same time next week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.